What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 725 of the SmackDown Moment Smack Talk Hot Tags of the Week. I am back to being your host, as always, other than the past couple of weeks, where Callum Wiggins was holding down the fort to me. I am Tony Mango, and Callum Wiggins is here as well, as always.
Relegated once again, but it will be mine at some point.
Yeah. And Robert DeFelice as well, of course.
I'm just happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with both of you and to be back with the podcast in my usual form and able to, do the hot tags like in any capacity as well, since I'm not, trying to do it on my phone through an internet service that wants to crap out every 10 minutes and all the other elements that go along with that. A lot I want to catch up on, because I didn't get a chance to really get my opinion about some of these things that normally each one of these topics could have been like a big story in and of themselves on each particular week. So you guys had a busy set of hot tags to go through for those two episodes.
Definitely last week's one was very, very busy.
Pretty insane.
Week before that would have been busy if I remember that Bound for Glory was happening, but then I forgot about it, so I didn't talk about it.
To be fair, I mean, it's Bound for Glory. Yeah, when it comes to Bound for Glory, I'm not really going to go through too much of that because it's like, all right, well, quick opinions and stuff, but obviously I don't need to tell you what my predictions were and whatever. But we got quite a bit of breakdown from that, and then, of course, all the things that happened this week. So, as we always do, we always want to know what you have to say. So drop a comment below on whatever platform it is that you're listening to us on. Maybe you are on our Discord channel. If you are, then, there's plenty of different channels for you to have fun over on that front. Keep in mind, too, that if you are on YouTube, to hit the like button, subscribing, the notification bell, get your email alerts set up for the post shows and any kind of live content that we bring your way. Next one being, of course, the NXT Halloween Havoc post show, immediately coming up tomorrow night after the event, which I'm hoping is over around 10 because it's supposed to start at 7, but who knows if that's going to be 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock, something like that. So that's all the more reason for you to have your emails set up for that, so that way you know when I do go live. It's usually about like 10 minutes or so after the pay-per-view, just to give myself a little bit of a break when it comes to like writing up the last little bits of news and double checking about the audio and all. But also keep in mind to help support us. A couple different ways you can do that. Possible spare change our way with the thanks button or the live chats on the or the super chats on the live discussions. Redbubble and TeePublic for merchandise options. Patreon.com/SmackDown and YouTube channel membership. They're both exactly the same. So if it's $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever it might be, it's all greatly appreciated. And we want to thank you for your support. And something that I'm going to post up. I don't know whenever I get a chance to post it. I got to write up like some kind of quick thing on the website or whatever. But notice that there's this option of like a preferred source on Google. And if you are somebody who checks SmackDownMoment.com a lot, or if you just want to give us a boost or something like that, you can add SmackDown Moment as a preferred Google source for your searches. So that will give it like a prioritization boost. And then, if you're doing a search and you say you want to, do the heel and face turn list or, title change or whatever like that, you search for like WWE or whatever, there's more chance that SmackDown Moment comes up. So saves you a little bit of effort from typing out SmackDown Moment or something too. Keep that in mind. All that stuff's great. And I guess let's start getting into what we got going on now. I mentioned before Halloween Havoc. We already did our pay-per-view point predictions for that. So we'll kind of skip over the NXT portion of the ringside stuff that we got going on and, focus on Raw and AEW and all that. But I do want to go back and talk about some of these other hot tags that you guys had given your opinions on and I didn't get a chance to. Predominantly the releases that had happened because like Kota Ibushi breaks his leg. Obviously that's fucking awful. And it sucks that he's in this like doomed to repeat this cycle kind of thing. So hopefully it gets better. I love the return of some of the old entrance themes. That was very nice to hear, like the Street Profits old theme and Nakamura's old theme. So I don't know why Sheamus didn't have his. It seems like they go back and forth with Sheamus a lot with that. I don't know why. But I am all down for a good amount, if not most, of the Death Rebel themes to go away because they've not been good. There's been like, for every good one, there's like 12 bad ones. You get like a Blake Monroe that's really good. And then you get all the other like generic ass. I couldn't tell you if that's an NXT person or somebody on the main roster type. The prediction side of all those things already passed by. The Santos Escobar thing, as we start getting into the hot tags for the releases and stuff. That's weird. He leaves only to resign the next day and then hasn't been seen. So I don't know what's going on with that. To be honest, I was kind of hoping that he would have left because I like Escobar and they're not doing really much at all with him. So I was like, I'd like to see him against some AEW people. But I guess
The rumor is that he's supposed to be on the next Raw.
on Raw.
That was one of the last things I saw about Escobar.
I wonder if that's to switch Legado over or if it's just like we're going to separate him and he's not doing anything with Los Garza or something.
I guess we'll see.
I'm very disappointed about the onslaught of releases from a lot of the Evolve talent. Not necessarily for like every single person, because let's face it, there's some people that like, I wouldn't have necessarily been like, we got to axe that person immediately, but I can understand not seeing a whole lot of progress by them. But there's some other people where I'm like, God damn, you didn't give them a chance to shine. Like, well, let's go through this list. Like Draco Knox, I don't even know if he's good or not. The guy has been on TV like 10 times, and I think like 8 of them, he's just been a security guard in NXT. So what's the, like, was he that bad? And if he was that bad, why'd you sign him to begin with? Like, that's kind of crazy to me. I don't think he's like Zara Zakar. I don't think she even showed up for like a vignette or something. So that's weird. Lance Anoa'i, the hell happened there?
He got injured.
And they were just like, fuck it, we don't want to pay you if you're injured. I mean,
well, first of all, that's a theme now.
Rich Holland, Kylie Ray, like that's shitty. The Rich Holland situation in particular, like I mean, the Kylie Ray situation's that's shitty too because it's not like she was like, let me go get hired by WWE and then get pregnant. But like Holland got injured in a TNA match, and if you're like, oh man, you're not gonna be able to make a living for a while, we should take your money away from you. Like, God,
He made no appearance, by the way, that he wasn't paid any extra for.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's like, come on, if it
I
walks
told
like a
you,
duck and acts like a duck and quacks like a duck, you're
Yeah,
a
well,
corporation.
Do people need to like recognize this? Like TKO has like obviously it's
Disgusting.
UFC as well. Wait, I'm UFC as well. The UFC like if you think like this is bad, and this is bad, definitely don't get me wrong, but like they treat UFC fighters like absolute garbage. But as soon as you like start to lose a little bit of luster, they'll just drop you like a sack of shit, and that's where you actually wrestling is one thing. Obviously, people still get hurt in doing it. It's not like the most safest occupation in the world, but the UFC that's legitimate fighting. That's serious like injuries you could suffer through the course of a fight. And yeah, if you lose a bit of steam or momentum, or you're not seen as marketable as you were anymore, then they'll happily just throw you under the bus and act like you never existed.
Yeah, I wish I could skip to that end of late stage capitalism where the bubble bursts and everybody has the next idea that actually is like, can we just be decent human beings again?
We're gonna be dead by then.
Yeah, I mean, we will be. That could be tomorrow. But like that whole situation, that Rich Holland thing, that sucks. And it's like, I don't want to say that sucks in the sense of like, oh, because Rich Holland was going to be a 12-time world champion. Like realistically, he wasn't. He had reached a ceiling. He wasn't getting over with the crowd in a way where like I could see why they would go, okay, well, we don't really want to invest in him anymore. But like the timing of it and everything, that's the shitty element of it on top of it. Because if he were healthy and you go, you've been in the company for a bunch of years and we just don't think that we want to continue with that. And then he goes and he, wrestles elsewhere. He has some other kind of job or whatever. But like, you'd be like, wow, it sucks that we can't milk whatever's left out of you, so now fuck off. That never is going to sit well with me. And I really just don't like it when people are bad people. And, business to me is not one of those things where they're like, there's no ethics in business. Fuck you. If a corporation can be like registered as a human being in some places and all, like, burn hell. But like, even when it comes to like the specific talent, I look at like some of the people on this list and it's like, Wesley, you didn't give him a chance to go on the main roster. And maybe he wouldn't have gone like in a super high direction. Maybe the guy would have been a mid-carder. He could have been the next Akira Tozawa that just is there for a bunch of years losing or something. I don't know. But like, you didn't try. You didn't offer him the opportunity to do it. And somebody like Jamar Hampton, it seems like he is like, wrestling's not for me. I'm incredibly athletic, but I can't figure it out. That's okay.
Did he actually say that?
He had said something about like my journey in pro wrestling's over or something like that. Like where like it indicated that it's like, well, I'm not going to be trying to wrestle elsewhere. I probably am not going to do this wrestling thing. Super athletic guy, but he couldn't get the psychology down and he couldn't get the promo stuff and whatever. And that's a big portion of it. Totally understand. BJ Ray, they made this dude like the main character of 2 seasons worth of LFG after doing nothing with him. And then they're like, okay, well, now that we've invested all this time and stuff into you, now we want to get rid of you. What's with this burp of like, we're not going to do anything. And then in the last like 5 months, we're going to go, oh shit, let's scramble. Never mind. You didn't immediately make everything better in that short time frame. Hayes Jameson just started. I think she was signed to like March or something, if I remember correctly. And it's like, that girl needs some time to like, I don't know, fucking learn from the learning facility you have. Give her a break. Summer Sorrell, if you mixed Hayes Jameson's promos and Summer Sorrell's in-ring work, you'd have somebody that people would be like, oh, it's another Sol Ruca. But you don't want to give him any kind of chance to succeed. And then, I don't know, I liked Bryce Donovan enough. I think that he should have stuck around too. I liked some of what I had seen from Gintala enough that I wouldn't have nixed her either. Stevie Turner's interesting because she's like, oh, I get to wrestle again.
That's so sad, but also very funny.
So why was she not allowed to wrestle? Was this a concussion thing?
Well, that's also possible, I guess.
Yeah, like maybe that's like they wouldn't clear her, but she knows that she can wrestle elsewhere because people wouldn't care elsewhere. Or maybe they really didn't like her wrestling and were like, we're just more interested in you in a manager capacity. I don't know, but that'd be an interesting story to follow. But I hate releases. It sucks. I hope that everybody bounces back. And I had written up some stuff on some EWN question of the days about like where I would want certain people to go. In particular, Zeta Steel to me is like a what the hell? You didn't want to try to keep her?
Well, because I was say she chose not to stay.
Supposedly she left on her own accord, which is also kind of crazy because it's like you're already signed to WWE and you're like 21 or something. You could go elsewhere and learn and all that. And I hope she does, and then she comes back or find success in like AEW or something. But like, it's kind of weird.
She's made it quite clear over a few like posts and things that came out soon after that she wants to wrestle Mercedes.
Oh,
you're not going to be able to wrestle Mercedes now if you're in WWE, at least not at the moment.
That's actually really I respect that. Like,
I didn't see that. Yeah, kind of good for her then.
I think there is, you do have these people that like, even though like a good end goal is WWE, I'm not saying that they should just like boycott it or anything along those lines, but you're going to get more, it's a good like starting point with the ID program to get yourself like a consistent salary so you can go to different places without having to worry about where your next paycheck's coming from or anything along those lines, but and get a little bit of like extra support and that way. But then have the opportunity to go on your own and to learn about yourself and what your persona should be, what your ring style should be, and you only really develop that by touring and doing more independence, going to different places. And fundamentally, the ID program is good because it allows people still do a lot of independent work, but it restricts you from going to certain places. So if you want to at some point work in AEW or try out AEW or try out CMLL or try out Stardom or something of that ilk, you're not going to be able to do that through WWE ID. So you need to it's given her an immediate platform, gets a little bit of notoriety through that, and now she can pursue her own path as a wrestler, and maybe at some point come back to WWE in a few years' time when she's developed more and figured out more about what she wants to be.
So what's one thing that most people don't know about getting out of debt? What's the best way out?
Most people don't know how debt really works. I got fired for this one thing I shared that allows people to reduce 50% of their debt, lower their monthly payments by 40%, and become debt-free faster than they thought possible.
Wow, sounds like something everyone should know about.
If someone told everyone how all this works, the banks could lose a lot of money.
You got my attention. What is it?
The banks don't want people to know about this. They're required to tell you the terms because that's how they make their money. But what they never tell you is...
So how long were you a debt collector for?
For 17 years.
And how much debt did you collect in total?
Honestly, I lost track. It's a massive business.
Right, I get it. Well, I know a lot of people get financial advice from finance experts, authors, and influencers, but sometimes it's best to get advice from someone on the other side, that raw advice you can't get anywhere else. So what's one thing that most people don't know about getting out of debt? What's the best way out? Is it making minimum payments, taking out another loan, doing balance transfers, or getting another job?
Actually, I got fired for this one thing I shared with friends and family that allows people to reduce up to 50% of their debt, lower their monthly payments by 40%, and become debt-free faster than they thought possible. And it has nothing to do with slow methods of paying off debt, like making minimum payments, getting another loan, or balance transfers.
Okay, you got my attention. What is it?
Well, the reason why we can collect debt is because most people don't know the rules and how debt really works. Whenever you get any type of debt, be it a credit card or a personal loan, you have to agree to the creditor's agreement, which is known as the terms and conditions.
Yeah, like how much you can spend.
Right, like how much you can spend, the interest rate, what your minimum payments are, and what happens if you miss even a single payment.
Yeah, that's normal.
Well, what they never tell you is that it's terms and conditions. 2 words, not one. They're required to tell you the terms because that's how they make their money. But they aren't required to tell you the conditions, which is how you save money and pay off your debt. The thing about conditions is when the conditions in your life change, the terms can change. Everything from how much you owe, your interest rate, what your payments are, and how fast you can pay off your debt.
Wow.
Yeah, so when your conditions change, and I mean anything from a loss of income to an unexpected medical bill, and even the cost of food, goods, and gas prices rising. Basically, any life challenges that can affect your ability to make payments, if any of that happens, the terms can change, and the debt becomes totally negotiable.
So why aren't more people negotiating their way out of debt?
2 reasons. First, the banks don't want people to know about this. And second, there are very specific steps required for you to take to be able to negotiate your debt. You have to know who to talk to at the bank, what to say, and when the best time to negotiate is so you can save the most money possible.
Sounds like something everyone should know about.
Yeah, if someone told everyone how all this works, the banks could lose a lot of money.
Well, I think I'll make a video about it then because it could make a massive impact, change a lot of lives, and help millions of people get out of debt.
Wants to be in wrestling.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. I liked her already enough that I was just like, at first when I saw that there was a release, I was just like, oh, fuck me, come on. What could you not have seen in this girl that you see in other people? Like, she's better on the mic than a lot of the other people. So a lot of people that are on the main roster even. And like, she's young, so you have like, you can't go, she's, past her prime or whatever like that. She's as rock solid in the ring as the rest of them can get. Not my necessarily favorite in the ring, but like compare her to somebody like a Lainey Reed. Like, yeah, of course they're on the same par, if not, Xavier Seal might be better. And for her to say that she left, I was like, all right, well, I hope that she at least goes around, keeps doing that stuff, builds up a better name for herself and does that kind of thing. I'd like to see her in AEW or TNA or elsewhere, rather than a place that I wouldn't watch. But I hope she ends up coming back at some point because I think that she probably would eventually work best in WWE. And a lot of these people, like Bryce Donovan and all them, like I hope that they bounce back enough, and that maybe there's some element of this that's like the contracts are kind of wonky, and like how they had like released all those people that were associated with Rikishi's promotion. And it's like maybe they're still on the radar, maybe they technically don't want to spend money on that. Of course, we can get into the whole idea of the company spending money on things and wasting money and doing all that. But
They're making record profit. They have to keep making record profit.
yeah, we talked about that ad nauseum. That's what happens when you're in bed with the whole ballroom jackasses. So
That was
yeah.
a hot tag last week. You want to talk about that? That Hunter is going to be doing more at the White House?
Absolutely disgusting. I hope it completely falls apart and they get punished for all their actions because karma is a bitch. And a nicer way to phrase that is, I hope that you get exactly what you give to everybody else in return. And if you hear that sentence and you go, oh shit, then stop being a piece of shit.
He goes off to the White House while a computer takes his place in the creative room.
So that AI stuff, that was definitely a story. I've seen, I'm in and out of it for the past 2 weeks and stuff, so maybe I'm missing some elements of this, but it seemed to me like they hired somebody who is like some outsider person. They want to try to use AI for like storytelling and other things as well, which is like, of course, every fucking thing in the world is like, you can't click on Adobe Acrobat without being like, do you want to sign up for our AI assistant? Oh, do you want AI to do whatever? And most of it's garbage and most of it sucks. And I can show you my ChatGPT records where I can show you the fact that Sora, for instance, bugged me for the last 3 weeks to give them a full-on breakdown of why this thing wasn't working. That still isn't working, by the way. And then asked me to screen record it and then said to me, we still don't know what the hell is going on. Can you provide an HAR file and record your like network connections and all this complicated shit? Because they couldn't figure out what was going on. And they're like, you need to help us with fucking ChatGPT. And I'm like, God damn it. Why is this Tony Fixes America again? And they've since gotten back to me and said, oh, thanks, based on your fucking file, we will start to fix this now for all the people that have been complaining since August. So you're fucking welcome, Sora people.
Did they actually say for all the people who complaining since August?
No, but they said now that they ran through my record thing, now they can figure out what's happening because they discovered other issues based off of my file and whatever. And it's
If
like,
you're really gonna help out AI, there are people who are gonna pay you for that at least.
I should be getting fucking paid. So WWE, hey, you know, but supposedly the Hardys used AI in their most recent graphic for, sorry about the fucking New York shit, everybody, for the sirens in the background. We're back to that again. The promo with the Broken Rules match potentially had AI used in that, and then some reports had said something about like that they're using AI for like keeping track of information. Which let me tell you, do not do that. I had an argument with ChatGPT yesterday where I was like, "Can you just put this in order of fucking chronological dates?" And it's like, "Here you go." And then I'm like, "Why is November 14th after November 15th?" And it's like, you got me there. And I'm like, "Fuck, god damn it!" Like, so you cannot trust this thing, and they should not be using AI to keep track of things that they could just pay an archivist for, and they will do the right job the first time without any issues.
Shout out to your wife.
Yeah. She gets it. But I do understand the use of AI for certain things. And this is where I can come into the defense for it of if they used AI to do some kind of wacky graphic bullshit that would have been much more complicated for that Broken Rules thing, and it saved them some effort and whatever it might be, then I can understand why they would try to do that. But if they're trying to get AI to, according to the one report, write stories of Bobby Lashley being super obsessed with Japanese culture, I don't know if I want, but part of me kind of wants to watch that WWE and just be like, all right, the madcap nonsense of that is something, but then the bigger part of me is like, please don't. Has anything been more clarified about that? Is that basically just what's been happening, or am I grossly uninformed about this story?
Well, there's kind of conflicting reports about it because the report originally came out about the idea that AI would be used in some form for storytelling and creative as well as for video editing production, just more admin, sort of just time-saving activities. And then it kind of was debunked by saying, it's not going to be involved in the creative process because of certain storylines where they've tried to use similar things in the past that have fallen apart, and so they've coming out and saying, no one's going to get fired or get their jobs taken away, which is rich coming from WWE because everyone eventually gets fired. So then just saying that in any context is laughable, but essentially it's debunked. And then today, the Wrestling Observer newsletter basically doubled down on the fact that from their sources, they've been told that they are planning on using AI for storytelling and creative direction. And basically, they've had a thing with Triple H and a few other executives coming into the creative room, basically to reinforce the idea that no one's losing their jobs. Apparently, they make some sort of joke about how, except this guy, in order like little tongue cheek thing. Oh, no one's losing their jobs except for you. Ha ha ha. Isn't that funny? And then everyone's going, well, you actually fire people quite regularly. That's not exactly a nice joke to be thrown around. And
it would be kind of funny as a joke though if that's perpetually it's always the same guy.
Yeah,
it's just it's Greg.
He's the one guy that will never get fired.
And it's always just like none of you're going to lose your jobs except Greg. And then it's just like, oh, everybody's going to order lunch. Does anybody want anything except Greg?
That'd be quite like that.
I was going to hand out Christmas cards. I really like having my annual Christmas card. Greg's not getting one.
But apparently there's a lot of distrust behind it, not just because of the recent release and stuff like that, but after the again, this is one of these things that you don't do, you don't work for the boys, you don't work for the backstage thing, because there's a lot of distrust surrounding the Seth Rollins thing because no one was told about his injury not being an actual legitimate injury, and so that's the thing. I know it's a good idea to have surprises from the fan base, and in order to do that, you can't actually tell tons of people behind the scenes because someone's going to leak it and someone's going to find out. But then again, pretty much the entire time that the Seth Rollins injury was happening, I think Dave Meltzer in particular was basically he's coming back at SummerSlam, he's going to win the title. So it wasn't exactly a completely hidden secret, but they would probably rely on the fact that no one would trust what Meltzer would say, and so they can still keep act like, it's the biggest shock ever that he's come back, but everyone was kind of already thinking there's a good chance that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I kept him on my fantasy league team because I was just I don't know, I don't trust that this is fake. And then, of course, now the Boy Grab Wolf situation, Rollins does get injured, and then it ends up being people are like, I don't know, he's injured this time. They're not going to fucking do what they did a second time, and there's no benefit to it because they split division. It's not like they're just waiting on something, which that was a hell of a story to have. I'm doing fucking Raw coverage, and I'm like, all right, well, let me pack up my laptop, and it's harder for me to do coverage over there because I don't have the same setup and everything. And I'm like, I'm just gonna get up and get the stuff all set up and whatever. And then I'm like, wait, what the fuck just happened? And then I'm like, plug the laptop back in. I was not anticipating that whatsoever. That's for sure.
No, I didn't see it until later. I think I saw it on social, and I was like, oh, is this real? Because splitting the division like that came out of nowhere. But again, didn't see Crown Jewel, so didn't see Seth completely wreck his shoulder on the diving headbutt.
I didn't notice it. I didn't figure that there was any kind of injury. I was just like, he did the flying coast to coast, and it is what it is. Maybe he's selling. I didn't go that looked kind of bad. I don't want to watch out for that, especially because of Rollins. I tend to think if it's his legs, then I'm worried. Shoulder.
Now he's only got one good limb left. After
seems
I love
Seth Rollins.
Jesus Christ. I love him, but it's getting a little worrisome. Where it's going to be like, oh man, you're going to get the people who are like, don't even put him in the ring. He can't even go in the ring, but until it's time for him. Ironically, it's like Punk, isn't it? Where for a long time after AEW, it was like, oh no, Punk is wrestling. I hope he doesn't get injured.
Knock on wood when it comes to that. It can always be around the corner. What's the thing about TNA's not taping?
Yes, so after Bound for Glory, it was always going to be a case that they were going to take a 4-week break from filming any new content. So the next set of, I don't know if it's the next set of actual live, the next set of new content they're putting out is I think from the 9th of November or something of that sort of
It's November 13th is a live Impact, November 14th is a live Turning Point premium live event, and then the 15th will be a taped Impact setting at Full Sail University.
So they're setting up a pay-per-view, with 1 day's build.
Not a pay-per-view.
Premium live event.
Well, they do it. They have a split in the middle of what WWE does and what AEW does. What they call their PLEs are just exclusive to their streaming platform and are more like, let's say, a Saturday Night's Main Event. Whereas they have actual pay-per-views as well, like Bound for Glory, which cost more and are widely distributed.
Kind of like Smackville was.
Yeah. What a weird thing to put into it. Yes,
I don't fucking know why Smackville in my brain out of all things. Beast in the East was another one.
Starcade.
Starcade, yeah, like things they should have done. You know, back when the network was like the shit made
Think
sense.
the reasons why I subscribed to the network to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, still think that they should have broadcast the just set up one camera to record every house show and then just broadcast the house shows and put it as in your house. Like it would have made sense. You know, these are kind of things that you know that meme where like the conference table, the guy says something that's like, "Why don't we try this idea?" and then it gets thrown out the window. It's like I would have been thrown out the window a million times. I'd be the Greg in this conversation of like, "Fuck that guy."
Block Blast Puzzle Games. Play now.
But it's just like pure TNA, this sort of behaviour of like, oh, we do this big damn show and we talk about how big the attendance was and we crown a new world champion and do all this other stuff.
And then we
yeah,
stop
we're
for
just
a
now we're going to take a week off and like, lose all momentum as a process of it. We just show clip shows for a month and hopefully everyone's going to be excited when we come back. It's like, well, I mean, it's still doing stuff because they're still going to be on NXT instead. So
Since I've been doing more TNA coverage this year than damn near any year other than like 2000 whatever the hell, when like you know still like the Booker T and all them, by proxy of that, I've had to try to explain some stuff to Caroline, and you know she like doesn't care in the grand scheme of things about it. It's pro wrestling crap. But every once in a while she'll be like, "What's this thing?" Like, I started playing Pokemon Legends CA, and the like chairman or chairwoman or whatever it is that pops up on there, I immediately was like, "Oh my god, it looks just like the woman from AAA." And so did Caroline at the exact same time, like that kind of thing. But the way that I keep explaining TNA is I'm always just kind of like, if you think of something that could be a decent business decision, don't. And like you know, anything that would make any sense or anything that would be like embarrassing, like it's just you could without even paying attention to what they've been doing for the past bunch of years. It seems like they just perpetually do that kind of stuff, and it's always let's sign this person to a 1-year contract and give them the whole world so that they can be more interesting and go elsewhere than go, well, we lost them, and then like, oh, let's bring this person in there and have them be like, you know, they're not going to be. That was something that made Caroline roll her eyes. She was like, when I had the Bound for Glory thing on, she's like, I kind of recognize these two. Were they in WWE? And I was like, yeah, they were the Iconics in WWE. Iconic with 2 eyes. Guess what their names are now? And she's like, oh, I don't know. It's like, you know, like person 1, person 2, or whatever. And I was like, that's the Inspiration with 2 eyes. And I got a massive eye roll. And she was like, I didn't try it all today. I'm like, no, that's TNA for you. So
well,
have them,
there wasn't TNA name.
I'm sure that they were something similar. Yeah, maybe they would have just been like the Iconic duo or something instead. But
Well, that's what they started as in WWE, and then WWE has to trademark everything, so they went with the 2 eyes iconic.
the no tapings thing. Who's gonna watch a fucking clip show? That's so stupid.
A TNA clip show as well.
Right on top
Like,
of that.
like some of the footage will be quote unquote new because it's going to be taken from some of the tapings they did prior to Bound for Glory where they went to Canada for a little bit. But then again, it's like it's really weird because Santana's going to be wrestling on a show and he's not the world champion because it took place weeks beforehand.
Because we can see where Trick Williams also retained the title over so-and-so or whatever. Oh, wait, we didn't get Trick on that probably. Bound for Glory itself, I didn't do, like, obviously I wasn't going to do a post-show or something like that for many different reasons, but, you know, it was an interesting enough pay-per-view to watch. Santana win the title, Dudley Boys doing their whole retirement and everything like that. Some good stuff, some bad stuff. Take with it what you will. I didn't get a chance to talk about Takeshita winning the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Obviously, it's not something I'm super duper invested in because it's New Japan and I'm watching New Japan, but, you know, they kind of fast-tracked that. So I think that these theories that you have about where they're going to go with Takeshita and all that going forward, and you can read some of this right so far, so I'm going to bank on defaulting to what Rob Callum has to say about that when it comes to predictions and all.
It's just building towards it. It's a card versus Takeshita at Wrestle Kingdom.
Seems like it.
It's either that or they just like throw Tanahashi in for the sake of it being Tanahashi in his last event. But I just don't think that they'll go that route just because, you know, then the show has 2 selling points. You see Tanahashi's last match and you get to see a card versus Takeshita where all bundle that into one match. But they're having difficulty selling tickets right now. They need to have things, more than one thing to excite people, because there really is nothing going for Wrestle Kingdom other than the fact that Tanahashi's retiring right now. So
Is
if
it?
they don't go with Tanahashi versus Takeshita or whatever, is there anybody else that they've like lined up as a potential? They're just like not bothering.
Well, the only person that could have potentially been is Goto, because he got injured and he lost his title, and so he came coming back to try and win it back. And he hadn't been anything spectacular, but he'd been a decent enough draw as champion for the last few months prior to that. But he's having a match to Takeshita, but he's having it a couple of months before Wrestle Kingdom. So it means that that was going to be a Wrestle Kingdom match. So there really is no one else that they positioned well enough to fight for that title.
It would be weird if they just went like Takeshita versus like Zack Sabre Jr. rematch or something. Then it'd be like, God damn it, you're not trying at all. But
Yeah, and I wouldn't
these
say
band
anything
works
like that.
differently. Like, you know.
Differently is a nice way of putting it right now. I'd say I'd go so far to say instead of saying it works differently, I'd say it doesn't work.
It's not a very good product right now. I've unsubscribed from New Japan World. I did that around the same time I unsubscribed from DNA
Yeah.
Plus, and I don't regret it because I don't feel compelled to be like, I gotta watch New Japan. It's not there. It's not there right now.
No, I would imagine that there's not many people that are really feeling that urge. They should feel the urge to merge instead. That's much better. Looking through the other things, a lot of them are all like, some of them pass by enough that it's not really worth talking about. This ESPN deal thing, though, that's another thing that's been a hot button issue over the past couple days or so. Everything from they are losing hundreds of millions of dollars to no, they're doing great, which I, of course, you got to take everything with a grain of salt.
But that's every WWE deal ever.
Yeah.
It's always either it's a massive failure or massive success for the partner, depending on who you ask and when you ask them.
And it's like both could be just as factual from a perspective of like, like say, obviously it's one money or it's the other. They're either losing money or they aren't. One way or another, one of those is a fact and the other one can't be. But, if you get a report that's like, oh, I heard that they're failing, well, that person could have heard that and it could have been a bullshit story. And then you also get the whole, maybe that's legitimate. And then when the companies come out and they go, no, don't freak out, don't lose stock value, then okay, well, maybe there's something there. And maybe they're just going, please don't panic and please don't admit that we are failing for this, because if we lose the stock stuff, that's, what it is. If it's not a publicly traded company and they don't have stocks going on, then I trust the company a slight bit more. I don't trust companies at all anymore, but like anybody that is out there trying to play risk management and bullshit corporate speak about like, well, we got to make sure that we say global internalization fucking whatever, because that'll hit some kind of metric on some stock blah blah crap.
Well, what the fuck is global internalization?
I don't fucking know. They pull that crap out all the time. And it's always just like, here's the buzzword that you're going to hear when, there's some kind of stock thing. And it's like, no, this is about rollover units or something. And you're like, fuck you. Talk like a human being. You're not AI yet. But like an ESPN person saying, oh, we're doing amazing, and then not having any kind of numbers to back it up makes me suspicious that they are losing a lot of money and that they're just like, let's hope that nobody notices the fire. We can go, it's all good here while everything's exploding behind us. And then maybe in the meantime, we can figure something out or things can bounce back and then we can not lose stock money. But it could also just be that maybe because they don't give out the numbers to everybody, maybe nobody knows and they actually are succeeding. It wouldn't surprise me if it was more so that they're losing money, because let's face it, I don't know a single person that is happy and willing to pay the $30 for the ESPN thing. Every single person that I know either didn't, or they were dragged kicking and screaming and they're like, yeah, I'm only going to do it for certain months, or like, yeah, I'll do that for WrestleMania, I'll stream something, I'll go over to my friend's house, I already have Peacock, so I'm just going to wait, like any of those kind of things. I don't know a single person that's like, oh, this is fantastic and I love it. So you got to imagine that there's less people that signed up for this ESPN deal than the people that had signed up for Peacock, because it's 3 times the price. And then the people that have been signed up for ESPN before and are like, oh, this is great, I get everything. That's like a lateral move. That's not an upgrade, really. So I don't know. But I used the ESPN thing for the first time in Brazil. After having like Peacock wouldn't let me do anything in there because it's like, this is US only product and all that.
That's so weird. You're in a different country. You didn't just go to Netflix.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Was I was trying to load ESPN in Brazil, and I was trying to load Netflix as well, and I was trying to get anything to work, and the ESPN thing was giving me some bullshit, and the Netflix one eventually worked. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to watch it on Netflix then, and it was so much better on Netflix, of course, than the ESPN thing. So take that for what you will. But at the same time, HBO Max is increasing their prices again. So if you thought that AEW is immune from this kind of stuff, no, it's always just all the companies. And this HBO Max thing is fucking hilarious to me, because it's just like, this company, I'll burn the bridge for it even more because like they'll never hire me at this point, whatever. Like, how is somebody like Zaslav being like, I know how to do business. The way that you do business is you do everything wrong and then you just keep repeating the cycle. Like, they're talking again about reshopping around the Batgirl movie.
Download now.
Download now.
In your dreams. Maybe this will wake you up.
Yeah,
And it's like-
somebody needs to take that movie.
So you
Just
make
like
a movie and you
Go ahead.
spend all the money for it, and the movie has zero direction and your whole fucking universe is like falling apart, but you're like, I don't know, let's just fucking do whatever. And you make a movie for the budget of your streaming platform that essentially is basically a CW thing. So you basically made a TV show with a slightly higher budget, TV show episode, maybe 2 hours, whatever it might be. And then you're surprised when it turns out like shit. Of course, some other people are like, it's the most amazing movie ever and somebody needs to see it. And then you write it off as, we'll never release this, so we need a write off for it because we'll make more money if we don't release the thing and we just get a tax write off than if we actually do that. And then after a while, you're like, oh, can we sell it again? Don't you need to take that money that you got back and give that back into that? Isn't that how that works?
Maybe they think they'll get more. They can even like recoup some loss from that and just resell it for even more than that.
I'm interested to see it just out of curiosity because it's the Batman project, but like, Warner Brothers and Discovery, they merged, they unmerged, they whatever, and now it's like they're going to sell, it's going to be Paramount or whatever, so let's increase the HBO Max thing, because if everybody knows the one way that you can get more people to give you more money is to charge them more money and do literally the two things in the entire world of streaming. Actually, there's three things. Three things are the only things that matter in streaming. And of course, this is like a kicking and screaming thing where like any idiot would tell you these three things, and then the corporations would go, but I don't want to. And then you're like, well, that's what you got to do. The only three things that matter. Is there a wide variety of good content that people would want to watch? Number one. So don't take shit off of it and don't produce garbage. And then there you go. When you fucking log into Tubi and you see your husband is my husband, I'm going to, kill you. Number three. I had a fucking blast going through that when I was trying to get Evolve loaded up in Brazil, because it was like, oh, you might like these things. And it was like, my alien is my baby mama or whatever. Right now I just clicked on it just to see what's on here. And it's like, there's some kind of trafficking bullshit on the creator verse of like some weird Christian family or whatever. And then there's like the lesbian homie with Big Jaw, who's the special guest general manager at Evolve, whatever. But quality content, number one. Number two, ease of access, as in, if it doesn't work on your TV, you're not going to download the app, that kind of thing. If you have like, this is only for Roku TVs, well, fuck you, I have a Sony or Samsung or whatever it might be. And number three, the price. That's it. People don't want to pay a lot of money for garbage. They don't want to pay a lot of money for anything. They want to pay the less amount of money possible for the most amount of things. And you want to charge them the most amount of money for the least amount of things. So you find a middle ground in there where people want to do. And the answer isn't, we're losing subscribers, so we charge more money. All that's going to do is get people to go, fuck you, now it's $30, I'm going to cancel it. It's not that hard. Oh my God, fucking.
No, what's happening is everybody, and I see this across the board in entertainment, everybody took the time that people were stuck in their homes for granted. Everybody assumed that COVID was just going to be the way that it was forever. You're seeing this in gaming all the time. People are spending all this money on AAA games and no one's playing, and they're like, oh shit, but what happened? They were all playing. Yeah, because people were home.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with all these streaming services. People were home. They're like, you know what? I'll pay to get Netflix. And most probably still weren't. But like, I'm sure more than now, we're like, I'll pay to get Netflix. I'll pay to get HBO. I'll pay for this. Look, take it from me. As of yesterday, the only service I have left is Netflix. And that's only because that's how I've been watching all of the WWE program through my VPN. Like, and even then, I can now look at it and go, well, do I need this? And realistically, maybe the answer is no. Everybody, and like Tony's a rare exception because he was always like trying to not get streaming services. But like me, I had everything. Literally, a month ago, I had almost every platform you can think of. I had it just in case something cool popped up and I wanted to watch it. Now I'm like, no, you got too fucking greedy. You got too fucking greedy, and no one wants to pay these prices. No one.
What is it for the AEW stuff over in the UK that you have, Calum? Because you don't have HBO Max and that kind of setup and stuff, right?
I use Triller.
Triller, okay.
Yeah, so that's AEW Plus. That is a, what is it, $7.99?
Yeah,
subscription price?
Yeah, that's the subscription price, and that gives you access to all the weekly television shows that AEW puts on, and gives you a discount price on pay-per-views as well.
And then the pay-per-views are not like $50 even on top of that, right? Or are they?
Yeah, they're about £20. I think it's the equivalent of probably about $30 maybe.
So you get a discount on top of that?
Yeah.
Which is like, if you're spending, say, let's just say it comes out to $30 a month after like, all that stuff. That's still 20 less than what everybody would pay for just the pay-per-views. And like, that type of shit is like, well, no fucking wonder that's worth it. If that's the main way to watch the show that Callum likes the best, both of the shows and the pay-per-views, and it's less money than what it is for that, and it's everything, yeah, that's probably worth $30 a month.
And not for nothing, I've heard from a lot of people who are like, fuck this ESPN thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're charging me 3 times the amount that I've been paying for a decade. I'm not continuing with this. I'll find another way, or I won't watch the pay-per-views.
Right, because if you spend $30 for ESPN for the pay-per-views, and then you spend 10 to 15 to 20 or whatever for Peacock for the NXT ones, and then you've got Tubi's free, but like, you got to log on to Tubi, and that's annoying, and it's Evolve, so who gives a shit, really? And then, I need Netflix for Raw, and then I need cable for SmackDown and for NXT and whatever. Oh, so you want me to spend $150 whatever a month just to watch all this WWE stuff? No. And then they go, well, why aren't you doing that? And it's like, because I don't have the fucking money, because first off, you don't deserve it, and second off, this economy is tanking because of obvious political reasons that nobody wants to know, or well, that only half of the country really wants to actually pay attention to, be a logical human being about. But like, yeah, fucking, if I go to the supermarket and the apples are rotten, I'm not going to buy it. Like, it's fucking simple shit.
It all comes down to the fact that like streaming is still a very new industry. Like the whole streaming industry is still like fairly new in the grand scheme of things. So people are trying to benefit from it because originally there's only a few people that do it, and so they get super popular off the back of it, like your Netflix's kind of deal. And then loads of cable companies decide to jump on top of it as well, and other industries as well, like Disney Pluses, Amazon Primes, all of that. It becomes saturated super quickly. And because like you're trying to appease, essentially you're trying to put the best content you can there. There's only so, even though everyone's making shit tons of TV, sports, movies, all that stuff, there's only so much content that can go on every platform. Disney have the advantage, obviously, they make so much of their content that they can just put whatever they do on there. They own Marvel, they own like a Star Wars, a load of stuff, so they're pretty much set. But for other people, it's okay, you just need to either make your own stuff or find as much good quality content as you possibly can. And with the WWE and with ESPN, HBO Max, with AEW and a lot of other places as well, it's just literally a scramble to just try and put anything on there that would appeal to a certain subset of fans. But the problem is, as you say, it has become so saturated so quickly that you can't have all of those subscriptions. Not like people these days can't have that many subscriptions because it's just financially irresponsible to do so. But they're still going to pay them to do this because like Netflix is still going to pay WWE and ESPN is still going to pay WWE these huge amounts of money because they need this stuff because they can't get subscriptions any other way. They need to. So that's why I have no doubt in my mind that ESPN is losing money on this WWE deal. But in their mind, they see, oh, in X number of years' time, it will be worth it because we'll have all these subscribers and it'll be great because eventually all this stuff will add up over time. So we might be losing money now, but in 3-4 years' time, it'll be looking good. And that's probably what WWE thought when they started the network, and then that didn't work. Until these other places will find out, oh yes, this doesn't work because we just don't have the money to spend on all of this stuff, and we're just going to go with the one or two that appeals to us the most and find other ways of getting this other content, or just not watch this other content because we can't afford to do so. We can't like divide our time up. You can't just pay like one-off per episode or show or film you see. So Yeah, it's not even the fault of like AEW, it's not the fault of WWE, it's the fault of the actual content creators themselves.
No.
Because there's so many platforms, and they haven't spent so much money just to get these people on these platforms. WWE, it's like if ESPN is going to offer you $300
Exactly.
million, you're going to take their money. You don't care. You don't care in your own sense. Obviously, you want to make sure viewership's high because it means you'll get re-signed for more money down the road. But at in the moment, you just go, well, yeah, I'm just going to take your money and we'll see what happens when it happens. If we lose it, well, someone else who's desperate for content to put on their platform will pay us a shit ton of money to do it as well. So it's always like this really good and bad time for content creators because right now you can make a shit ton of money based on streaming services' desperation for any kind of unique content. But eventually, this is going to burst really badly, and everyone's going to be badly affected by it.
Yeah, I don't blame WWE for taking the money. I, of course, bemoan WWE in their the corporate ball tickling when they go like, no, this is the best thing ever and everybody should love that we're making this money. And they're like all the other kind of things where they like stand up for their partners and all that kind of shit like that because to me, like, all that evil stuff. But like,
Happy Color. Coloring book. Download today and get started.
and I don't have an economics degree, so like I can't speak to like specific things when it comes to this, but like just the way that the world works with everything. If something gets popular, everybody tries to cash in on it. There's a bubble that gets bigger and bigger, and then eventually it gets oversaturated, and everybody realizes that there's not actually enough money to go around, and there's not actually enough interest. And then one by one, things start falling apart. The bubble bursts, and then the few things that stick around, if there are any that stick around, are able to be like, okay, well, we're the giants that stand, and then everybody else we kind of like absolve. It's the same as anything that happens with that. That's why when you, for instance, I have up on my screen right now, I've got the blueprint for my Absolute Power Rangers story, which, if you don't know what the Blueprint Project is about, everybody go ahead and check out the Blueprint Project and Fanboys Anonymous and all that stuff. Check out Absolute Power Rangers. It's awesome. But the Power Rangers thing is a good example. Power Rangers are super popular. What gets flooded on television in 1993? Mystic Knights of Tir-na-nog and fucking, VR Troopers and Big Bad Beetleborgs and all this. And everybody goes, all right, all these knockoffs, everybody wants to do their own Power Rangers. They all kind of suck. And then even Power Rangers stops being popular. Ninja Turtles is super duper popular. You get Biker Mice from Mars and
Great fucking show.
Street Sharks and stuff. And it's like, everybody goes, what other kind of animal can we do? Can we have some kind of Bucky O'Hare rabbit thing? Can we whatever? And then what is the actual thing that sticks around? It's the Ninja Turtles that sticks around. And like, everybody creates their own streaming service. Everybody wants to be the thing that can do whatever. Smart ones are the ones that sold early and were able to make the money the way that MySpace, Tom was just like, all right, I'll sell to whoever was, Fox or something, News Corp. And it's like, I'll make millions of dollars and be set for the rest of my life. And then fuck you, Facebook can take off and then they can have its own issues. And eventually we will reach a point where services like Tubi and all that will just be either non-existent or they will be factored into some Netflix or something. Like it's going to burst the way we've always talked about. And if you're HBO Max and you're like, how can we milk the last little bit of money out of the people that are still following us before we switch over and then just fudge our numbers and all that? It's not going to work out in the long run. And whatever ends up buying HBO Max and whatever buys DC and Warner Brothers and Discovery and all that, whether it's Paramount or not, if we just end up getting, all right, well, Harley Quinn and those other shows are over on Paramount, fix your fucking app because that's another thing. And then you can't just go, we need to then make our money back. So now it'll be $50 for Paramount because everybody will go, wow, a lot of stuff on Paramount now. Shame it's all that money. Never mind. And then you'll be the one that's going, fuck it, who wants to buy me? It'll all settle down eventually, but we're in that dumbass period where nobody understands logic anymore. So we have to go through this for years.
So eventually it'll be to be or not to be.
That is the
That is
question.
the question.
Whether it is nobler in the, okay, I'm not gonna go on the whole thing. If you have not checked out Hamlet, anybody, like fucking Hamlet's so
You
good.
do.
It's such a good monologue though. Like it deserves to be so fucking great. Also has one of my favorite lines in any kind of Shakespearean thing. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables, which I did not understand as typical Shakespeare until I had to like decipher it all, which means, damn, your husband just fucking died. You might as well use the same lunch meat to serve the marriage that you did on the funeral.
Nice.
Ooh, old school burn. Check out Hamlet, everybody. Not Hamlet 2, that movie sucks. Charles Manson wanted to beat Bray Wyatt. I was like, how do I transition here? Whether it's nobody. According to a story, somebody that knows Bray Wyatt is somebody that eventually became a prison guard at the place that Manson was at, and Manson said that he wanted to meet Bray Wyatt, and that this writer that was on podcast, he was talking about this idea, and then they pitched that they like could maybe do something with like Bray Wyatt meeting Charlie Manson, and then of course they were like, fucking no.
Okay, first of all, the question is this a compliment? Like, was this complimentary to Bray Wyatt? That's
I mean, okay, so it depends on how. I wasn't close to Bray Wyatt. I can't say how he thinks. But if the reaction is, "Hey, I like what that guy's doing," he's like paying tribute to me. Does Bray Wyatt go, "I did my job"?
Yeah, it's different in that sense, but it's like, I don't know whether like being complimented or informed. I mean, if you are trying to play like a cult leader thing and being complimented by a guy who led a cult which resulted in several high-profile murders, I guess in a way it means that you are performing the role well,
Yeah.
so you can take it complimentary in that regard. I think anybody that kind of speculated the idea or pushed around the idea of him meeting or doing something with Charles Manson is like don't make a celebrity out of the murderer. Like that's kind of this is the whole issue with so many things these days. It's like you always just there's so many serial killers that become kind of like weird celebrities because of their actions, because they did these crazy things that no one in their right mind would ever do. Like your Ted Bundys, your
I'm watching the Ed Gein thing right now. For
Oh
instance.
god, I stopped watching it after the first episode. It's awful. It was dreadful. I don't care if that is what he sounds like or what he did
It's
sound like.
really
in
weird.
that voice. I can't listen to 8 episodes of a guy talking in that voice. It's ridiculous. I'm not
Do
going to
the
enjoy that.
podcast like that for the whole rest of the time.
It's because it's one of those things that I haven't watched. I only stopped after the first episode because I just thought it sucked and I'm not going to subject my time for it. I didn't like. It's one of those things like Dharma, the original one. They call that. It's in of itself. I think it's a really good show. Like just performance-wise, just like the whole atmosphere around it is really good. I don't like it
Peter's
because
good. Yeah.
I don't like it because it's just historically accurate. And they embellish so much shit because you have to do it for TV and all this other stuff. Like the fucking romance storyline, it's like that's disgusting and sickening. The fact they make Dharma look attractive as well is just another issue. Because like you don't want people simping for a multiple serial killer who hate his victims. It's like what are we doing? What are we doing in this world where we're trying to make serial killers? How sexy are they? Like that's like the whole story.
Yeah, in politics these days.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a whole contingent of people that are like, you know what I like? Those terrible people. I like when they do the bad things. It's like, fuck you. What? Did you not learn anything?
Yeah,
No, nobody did.
But I think that so in terms of this story with the Bray Wyatt, it is complimentary in the regards that if you are putting performance that the kind of the guy that you're basing on looks at it and goes, oh yeah, that really has my essence to it, then it shows that he is doing a good job. And I think the whole original Bray Wyatt character was the best iteration of the Bray Wyatt character after like they completely fucked around with the Fiend.
Same here.
And so
I never liked the Fiend.
So I've seen like clips of like Charles Manson, and I can understand the mannerisms that Bray was taking aspects from because he does have obviously a strange charisma about him. It's kind of like it's undeniable when you watch him being talked to that you can see how people that don't have their heads kind of screwed on quite properly get manipulated by it. And so yeah, you can kind of like look at a Bray Wyatt promo and compare it to Charles Manson doing an interview after his incarceration. You kind of get the same vibe. But yeah, anybody that did that suggestion is kind of like, I don't know, we get next like gonna do the whole WrestleMania 12 like RJ saying let's actually get interviewing OJ afterwards and like an episode of Piper's Pit with OJ Simpson afterwards. It's like,
Well, the supposed rumor, and you can't trust the people from that era especially. The supposed rumor is they wanted Piper to fight OJ.
I mean, I'd watch it.
See, but that's part of the problem because people would watch it. I think in this case with Manson, it happens to be that what it was like Wyatt's either high school or college football friend was the security guard.
Yeah.
That probably got brought up to Bray. Bray probably was like, hey, you know what I heard? And someone looked at him and said, absolutely the fuck not. And that was
I mean, it's like I could see this is where like that devil's advocate part of me comes into the fact because like if somebody presents that to a writer's room to me and they go, did you hear that Bray was saying that Charles Manson wants to meet with him? I'd be like, wow, that seems like a bad idea, but let's talk about it for a minute. Like, let's just fucking, instead of talking about, do you watch the game? Let's talk about that. And just like, in theory, if this wasn't a bad idea, which we're all going to collectively agree is a bad idea, right? And like, can we all put our hands up that we're not doing anything with this? Let's just talk about it. And then maybe we can spitball something that we can get out of this that does not involve the actual horrible person. But like, in theory, if we were going to do a backstage interview between the two, what would that lead to? Well, that would expose the Bray Wyatts, whatever. And like, it would be this whole like thing like that. I'd be like, this could be an interesting jumping point for creative discussion. But absolutely not should we film fucking Charles Manson in any capacity or do any kind of thing like that because we don't want to endorse anything that he did. And then, of course, we're in 2025 where they're like, we're worried about John Cena being at the fucking Capitol for his final match. And it's like, it is what it is.
it's happening.
You think that the Crown Jewel sucked thing was a podcast? Everybody, if that ends up happening, you haven't figured out December 13th post show yet.
And McCarthy's retired speech after 5 minutes because of that break.
I wonder how much of it's just going to be like, I hear this John Cena, he's great. John's great. Good job, John. Great.
He'll be mumbling nonsense while he shits himself. That's all he does these days.
Let me leave, Murph! No! 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 No!
This game is way harder than you think. It's called Block Blast, and if you want to be good, you have to think 3 steps ahead. At this point, I thought I lost, but then I realized I could make 2 moves to keep the game alive, and then I went on this insane streak. My highest score so far is over 3,000. Do you think you could beat that? You can try to beat my high score right now by tapping the screen to download Block Blast for free.
Good. Good.
I think that the Manson story is one of these just like, wow, that's kind of crazy, and I can completely see how that was talked about, and
But like WWE is also fucking insane.
absolutely is.
Like they're even like before, now they're like openly on a specific political side and all those things. They're insane. They're the kind of people who are like, yeah, we're gonna do an angle where we suggest Kane had sex with a corpse,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna eventually lead to this being that the brother of the corpse comes back for revenge. Like it's very strange.
Yeah, this never made any sense. The last time that WWE wasn't booked like, some kind of odd fever dream was probably like San Martino, where it's like that Italian guy. Hope he beats the Russian.
Hey, he's Italian. He's a nice guy. I hope he gets some pizza.
Oh, he picked him up and he did the basic ass move. I'm glad I sat there and watched this for 26 minutes where he did nothing.
Which if you ever realised it's like Vince took over and it became like him trying to turn wrestling into more Bollywood mainstream stuff. Like pretty much with him like interviewing like Kamala backstage and all this other stuff, and it's like all this other just crazy wild bullshit that you have going on. Like it all stems from Vince, and that's why we see so much in TV nowadays. Because even with AEW trying to present itself in some way as an alternative, like everything in pro wrestling nowadays stems from what Vince did 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah, because no matter what,
Because
everything's done by WWE.
yeah, and no one else thinks they can do anything different because the pattern has been established so much. They think that doing something different is inherently wrong, and people will immediately reject it. Because,
Yeah. And so, something gets big enough and it is what it is. Like if you say in certain cultures, instead of saying I'll have a soda, say I'll have a Coke. And you might not even mean Coca-Cola. But it's like,
I
oh,
don't like
that's,
that.
that's what you mean is, you want something along those lines and whatever.
But yeah, it's when the brand becomes like the verb. It's
Yeah.
like the fact that like you don't search for things online, you Google things, or you don't.
Nobody says, hand me that facial tissue.
Yeah.
They're like, give me a Kleenex. Did you see
Right.
Rock's that? Like,
That's why so many people nowadays obviously associate just pro wrestling with WWE, and they don't understand that there's obviously other things. Like when you're obviously a more casual person, you're just not even watching wrestling, but you just like if you hear about it in any context, you just immediately say, "Oh, you watch WWE?" Then it's like
Yeah.
that's kind of the issue I have to go through in my head. Not that I talk about it too much anyway. If anyone mentions, like, "Oh, you going to see WWE show?" It's like, "Oh, I don't watch WWE." It's, "Oh, you're a wrestling fan?" Yeah. And then you start talking about it, and then they want to kill themselves, and I want to kill myself. So
And you have to say, I'm a wrestling fan, not a sports entertainment fan. They go, what's the fucking difference? And then after like blinking at you for 6 minutes, then they just go, I watch football.
Well, I'll give you a real world example of that. Just yesterday, I was installing a new smart lock on my door, and the guy's like, "What do you do for a living?" And I was like, "I write about professional wrestling on the internet." And he goes, "Huh, it's never been my thing, but I like Nacho Libre." I was like,
hey, look, listen, the guy's not taste, so that's fine.
"Yeah, it's like I totally get it. Okay." Like,
I rewatched that recently. Like it is fun. It's just a fun little movie. It's like it's nothing serious. Like just
I've never seen it.
I think they actually do a good job with like actually showing some respect to like lucha wrestling in it. I think that they don't go too crazy with it.
I'm surprised they didn't get Jack Black in the ring.
They should have.
Jack
Like,
Black
you know,
was huge at the time.
he's slimmed down since then.
I mean, I disagree. I think he
I
was
don't
probably.
I don't think he's huger now than he was back then.
He might be, I don't know. That would be
Well,
easy joke.
I was like doing the Minecraft movie and all that stuff as well. It's like he's obviously like Bowser and the Mario stuff as well.
Yeah.
So it's like he's kind of like he's now like super kid friendly. And Naturally, Libre is a kid's film realistically, but yeah, I think he's kind of almost like a bigger deal now than he was back then.
Real quick side note, since you brought it up, and I have no other means of doing this. Fantasy League's wrong graphic to put up there. I'll put a Fanboys Anonymous thing. Super Mario Galaxy. You're not gonna do Super Mario World for number 2. Come
Okay,
on.
well, hold on, pause. We can get into this because they did announce that it was going to be Super Mario World, and then they kind of pivoted. And I think the reason they pivoted is because they're going to merge kind of everything from World through Galaxy. Now you're saying to yourself, "Golly, that's 17 years," but realistically, that's like 2 games. World 64, maybe you throw a little Sunshine in there, but I doubt it. And then you get to Galaxy. I think you can do it.
What else happens in that stuff? Like, because like I wasn't like I didn't start playing Mario until 64, and obviously the main villain now is just Bowser, and he's just doing a load of like hopping from world to world until you defeat Bowser at the end.
Pretty much just that.
So pretty much that's what the first movie is. So it's not like hopping from world to world, but it's like it's him and Bowser is the main villain, and he defeats Bowser, and then that's it. So surely you need to move to a place where Bowser isn't the main villain, or there's just more complexity or more characters to it. So in Super Mario Galaxy, when they actually do the movie, you assume, okay, so this is where you introduce Rosalina, you introduce Daisy, you introduce Yoshi, like you get some other characters in the Mario universe that haven't already been like highlighted before. And probably introduce some other villain alongside Bowser. Like, you get Bowser Jr. You get
You're going to get Bowser
like,
Jr. because it's Galaxy.
Yeah.
So I'm going
I think
to quickly
it's
read
because-
my pitch that I wrote up, because I wrote up a thing, Fanboys Anonymous 2 years ago. My pitch for 2 sequel ideas and a Donkey Kong spinoff. Super Mario Brothers Movie 2. Got to focus on Yoshi. You got your same characters. This is what you did last time, but you bring Daisy in. You bring Wario and Waluigi in there. You got a couple different things like, throw in some references like Charge and Chuck and whatever like that. But they end that movie with the Rosalina stuff, and you go with that for Galaxy for number 3. And then you end up doing a Donkey Kong Country movie. So you go Mario 1, Mario World, Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario Galaxy, and then you got your Smash Brothers thing that you can do.
And now, see, that makes a lot of sense chronologically. And the reason you're salty, let's just call it a spade, is because you grew up around that time. So Mario World was a core memory for you and something you were looking forward to seeing. So
Yeah.
on the screen.
Mario World's a better game than a lot of the other ones.
But except for Galaxy, and I think they know they can do a lot of Yoshi by merging like World and Galaxy, but we'll call it Galaxy so we can re-release the games on the Switch. And look at all this synergy we're having. Pay more money.
Like the millennials and the Gen Z.
You're just merging everything. I do want to see Wario and Waluigi. I think if we don't see Wario and Waluigi, that's a crime. I want to see. I know we're gonna get the main green Yoshi, but I want to see like the whole horde of
The ones that
different colors.
flies, blue one, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see, like, okay, after Galaxy, in terms of mainline stuff, you only really have Odyssey to go. Where are we going here? Where are we taking this franchise? I'm very, very excited to see what they do.
I think that they might not just tie all this stuff to the video games before. I mean, eventually there's going to be a
Yeah, I
new
don't have
Mario
any
game.
ideas.
They'll have a new Mario game, and so that will connect to. They'll probably do something where, even like whether it's years down the line or whatever, if they do Odyssey as a third movie, and then if they go to a 4th movie, it could be a case of, oh, we're doing this movie and it's also being the game at the same time. And they must release them at the same time for like this weird synergistic effect. But I think there's, as I think they're just trying to combine all stuff and just giving them cool names. So you could have Odyssey, you could have Sunshine, decide to go back to Sunshine and just build it around that world or that universe. But I think they'll just start with different things. They'll do spin-off stuff. They'll do the Donkey Kong thing. I assume they won't introduce Waluigi and Wario until you do the tennis movie. and that'll basically be Mario equivalent of Challengers.
Yeah. Shit, I watched Challenger, so
The Peach Plains Entire.
Well,
Between Mario and Luigi.
I would say Mario and Bowser. Let's go back to him.
I think there are layers here. I don't think we can go straight to Mario and Bowser. I think Mario and Luigi is where we have to start.
Anyway, that's your random completely sidetracked, nothing to do with the wrestling element of this, but
Listen,
yeah, it's really listening to this
well,
Mark before. It's been a while. I haven't been on the air with these two guys, so I wanted to shoot the shit for a bit. Going back to SmackDown. So when I'm trying to do SmackDown coverage, for context of this for everybody, I'm trying to do SmackDown coverage while I'm also at a Rizio pizza place. and they are perpetually handing me different slices of pizza to eat and trying to keep track of this strange pale New Yorker that is there eating all this pizza. 13 slices for anybody that's curious.
Nice.
Which I was then told was weak. And I was like, weak? I ate 13 slices of this fucking thing, and I ate earlier. I usually eat 1 meal a day. I ate 3 meals that day. What's the record? And somebody was like, oh, one guy did 56. And I was like, all right, well, then fucking yeah, of course it's weak. Come here. Fuck you, I'll go in my corner, you know. But I am, you know, indisposed when it comes to what's happening on SmackDown for the most part. And I see Ilya Dragunov returns and fucking wins the Men's United States Championship. And I'm like, man, this would be a great episode to have been locked in and paying attention to it. And by now, of course, enough time's passed by where I'm like, I'm not gonna bother to watch the match. I'm sure it was great. It's Dragunov, it's Sami Zayn, it's, you know, spontaneous, like, whoa, oh my god, Dragunov's back, and oh shit, we got a title change. Like, I'm sure the moment would have been great if I could go back in time and watch that properly and all. But it's cool to see Dragunov back. This is a sign for him to get a push, obviously, for him to just immediately win this championship. It's weird that they switch him from Raw to SmackDown, but they do that all the time, so, you know, it's what it is. I'm a little bit worried that Dragunov is one of those types of talents that is more like he appeals to certain people in the back and certain, like...
Download now. Lemon8 Lifestyle Community. Download now.
Like, I just want to see a good match types, but won't connect with the bigger audience that is more into, hey, I want Jey Uso's theme to play a second time. And, you know, I kind of hope that's not going to be the story being told here, but Dragunov is the type that, like, if he can do what Sami Zayn's been doing and just put on banger matches week after week, he'll quickly become somebody that people are like, I like this Dragunov guy, if they're not super familiar with him. And if they book him the way that they've booked so many people that are like him, like Shinsuke Nakamura, or with plenty of other IC and US title reigns over the past, Finn Balor's been guilty of this, where they go, all right, well, we don't have to put any effort because a lot of people are just inherently fans of him, and then now we need to figure something else out, but we don't really have a good promo side, so let's stop paying attention to him. If he gets a Julia type of US title reign, he's doomed. And we'll be talking about him dropping that title pre-WrestleMania, I would think. Or they'll drag it out and, you know, drag it out. And it'll end up being the type of thing where it's like nobody gives a shit about his title reign heading into Mania because they didn't do fuck all with it.
So I'm more interested. First of all, Dragunov looks phenomenal. Neck tattoo's cool. He looks like he's in great shape. Had a banger match. I'm very interested in where they go with Sami because it feels like he needs to turn. But at the same time, Sami as a heel doesn't work. So I'm curious to see where he goes. But for some reason, the crowd has completely turned on him. They're tired of Sami. I don't know if it's because they feel like, hey, if you're not going to win the big one, who cares? Which I think would be a little silly and short-sighted. But these crowds are not liking Sami Zayn.
If you're not going to win the big one, who cares? And if you start getting pushed to the big one, we don't fucking like that either.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other problem. But yeah. I'm curious to see where that goes. The U.S. title should be the equivalent of a WWE television title. Just put the thing on TV, have banger matches. That's it. That's all you need to do. I like that he's the antithesis of the cowardly Intercontinental Champion on Raw, Dominic Mysterio. I liked everything about this. It was a surprise to me because I didn't watch the show, actually. I didn't watch the show. So all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what do you mean Dragunov is back? And he won the title because I just saw a picture of him shredded with a neck tattoo holding the U.S. title. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I think it'll be a really exciting time for him, and I think it's sink or swim. Because if we're being honest with ourselves, he's getting more of a chance than certain other NXT guys like Carmelo, for example. You know, he's getting a shot, so I hope he makes the most of it.
As I say, I think it does be a cool moment for him and sit off that such a long period out of injury to come back and immediately be thrusted into the limelight like this. I have my reservations about the potential of the reign because essentially, like, they had the match and they were immediately jumped by the NFTs afterwards. So it's like, oh fuck, he's first he's gonna be with Silas Koa, like, kill me now. So I don't think that's not a great starting point if you're there to say like, oh, he's here to have banger matches. Let's go with a guy who can't have banger matches with anybody. So try and see what you can do. So I think that he will just get lost in the shuffle because that's what they do with most mid-card champions anyway. The Zayn situation, I think it does just really boil down to there's some people that always, when like babyface has been around for too long or been just doing the same thing for too long, then there is just an inevitable turning point with them. Like, they would have eventually turned on Daniel Bryan if he hadn't gone injured soon after winning the world title and all this stuff, because that's just like, fans just move on very quickly and they look for the new flavor of the month.
They turned on Kofi, and that's why I always say that, like, that was the saving grace of the whole Lesnar thing, because they had turned on Kofi.
They turned on Kofi. They would turn on Bryan. They're turning on Cody.
Some turned on Cody like 2 weeks afterward, and there's been people here and there that have been turning, and then some people were like, after Cody dropped the belt to Cena, then it became like, okay, well then now I have to like hold my reservations and not be so upset about that. But now he wins the belt again. Now I'm gonna do it again. Like, you know, you're cursed to always, like, if you succeed, then people don't like it. They want you to be an underdog, and then they want to complain for some reason.
Yeah, which is one of those situations where, like, yeah, if you hang around a certain area for too long or hang around a certain point, people just lose faith in you. I think that's also the case with Sami. It's the whole story of him constantly pulling promise about how he needs to win the big one, how he needs to win the title, and they just keep him in the same level over and over and over again. He always loses his big matches. So eventually you are going to just lose faith in a guy like that because you're like, okay, you're never going to make him the world champion. So why should I even bother supporting?
We call that the Dolph Ziggler effect.
Yeah, exactly. And there's been plenty of examples of that in the past as well. So yeah, they kind of lost the peak of his popularity through the WrestleMania a couple of years back where he won the tag titles. I think he should have won the world title then. I know it would have been, because it's one of the things that they were super invested in having a super long Roman Reigns reign. I think it would have been so much more exciting and so much more interesting had he won the match in Montreal and then just dropped it like a week afterwards to Roman, and then you've got that Kofi back with the Sami Zayn top world title reign, and it just adds a bit more jeopardy to the match with Cody as well. And you would feel like, okay, maybe he doesn't need to lose the match to Cody, and Cody could lose, and it would be a bit more understandable because he's still in a brand new reign, pretty much. But yeah, it's not here nor there. We can always go back and relegate things, so like Brock Lesnar ruined the whole timeline, and then we've gone in this direction afterwards. But I think that but yeah, and so I don't hold a lot of faith with Dragunov being like a mainstay. Even if he holds the title to WrestleMania, like, what the fuck's he gonna do? What the fuck is any champion done with the long reign going under this regime? Like, fuck all. They get super boring. They fight the same people over and over and over again, and like eventually by the time they lose the title, you're almost like glad that it's over because, oh good, he gets to start a whole new 6-month reign with one person holding the title, the same people over and over and over again. Until we're desperate for things to change and something to happen. That's kind of like the whole thing of this recent Triple H booking regime, especially for the last year or so. It's like, please do something, anything, for fuck's sake.
And that's kind of my problem with WWE, as I've been saying on this podcast. I haven't been watching as much as I would normally do. And one of the things that isn't holding my interest anymore is like, you know that nothing's going to happen. And they slap you in the face with nothing's going to happen on the show. It's just a fun way to spend a couple hours. At that point, we live in the age, which they like to say all the time, we live in the age where we're competing with everything. Everything's entertainment. But you're not giving me something that makes me go, I want to watch this over literally anything else in the world. You know, and that's been my problem with WWE. That's kind of my problem with the Cena run is they turned him heel and they said, wasn't that so cool? Okay, now we're going to do fuck all.
Yeah.
It's too much of, hey, we're going to do fuck all because you're smarter fans. You understand. You know why you're here. And I hate that, quite frankly. I think that sucks. And I'm hoping to see across the board in wrestling more TV title changes, more, you know, unpredictable television. I'm not saying go full Russo and have, you know, Mike Rome win the NXT title. But
You
like,
never want to go full Russo.
you never want to go full Russo. But like, you could stand, like the Attitude Era was almost 30 years ago. It's 28 years ago. We could start to cherry pick some of those elements and throw it back into the TV. I think you'll be okay.
I'm curious to see where they go with Dragunov because SmackDown's happening tonight, and they got a great setup for how to follow that up. They've announced Tiffany Stratton will face Kiana James, and Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre are there.
Yeah, I have come across the occasional script, and like I've seen these, they're laid out proper. Like you guys have seen this when like a script will leak online. They're laid out, like they know what they're doing, and they announce nothing, and I don't get why that is.
It's so weird. It's like you even set up for Axiom and DIY, and you can't even advertise that match. Not that that's gonna be the thing that's gonna give you 10,000 work clicks every minute or something like that, but like it's just the low effort, complete lack of like I don't want to do anything kind of temper tantrum from WWE. It's insane.
With the AI, they're like, well, it's just so we don't have a blank page to start with. All right, and who's to say? Like, what was the excuse? Oh well, we've tried similar things like that in the past, and it's kind of gotten messed up. Yeah, and you know the whole point. A human being is still supposed to oversee AI. You can't just go, I push button, job done.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how that works.
Yeah.
Like,
not only does it not work just because the functions don't work, but like then you need the creative deciphering because otherwise you're gonna get the same bullshit. Like I've used ChatGPT on this podcast where like we've done the fantasy booking, and it's been like, all right, I got this team. I can't think of a single name that could go with them. Give me something. Give me 30 ideas, and I'll be like, wow, 28 of these ideas are god awful, terrible shit, but there might be something to those too, and let me see what I go with. And then we're like, it's easier to ask AI something where you go like, hey, if I were trying to figure out the best culinary mix of spices to complement turkey, what would it be? And then it does a bunch of research and it's like, well, according to these sources, whatever. Like that's what you could use that for. And then you double check and whatever. But like you can't be like, book Cody Rhodes for the next year and then be like, all right, it's gonna follow that script. Oh no, it says that he's fighting Yokozuna.
Right, and then they're like, hey, I had an idea. Bobby Lashley likes Japan. Like,
right, yeah. So like if they're gonna ask book Ilya Dragunov, then it's just gonna be scraping the internet of people going, I want to see Dragunov versus blank, and then it's just gonna be like, here's a series of people that he can feud with. And then it's like, I don't know, maybe the writer could have just looked at the goddamn roster sheet and gone, Dragunov versus Aleister Black looks good, Dragunov versus Shinsuke Nakamura looks good, Dragunov versus Sika Patu seems like an idea. And then within 6 minutes they go, there you go. I saved you the effort. And then you go, that's great. Nice job, Greg.
I would say, obviously, this episode of SmackDown doesn't, this upcoming episode of SmackDown obviously doesn't look super appealing with the things they booked, but it does lead into my prediction, which is that the real star of this Kiana James Julia partnership is Kiana James.
Happy Color Coloring Book. Install it now.
Hey, yo, check this out. This is DJ Khaled, and I want everybody to listen to Pandora now. Pandora got new music, new everything. That music is nice. We the best radio. Click, download, listen now.
Kiana James. So,
She's done more impressive things these past couple weeks. So
she's doing things.
Yeah.
She is just not TV.
Julia's like, I got the belt on my shoulder. How about that? The narrative, of course, being that she has to catch up to Stephanie Vaquer, and then Booker was like, it's not like a race or whatever. And it's like, yeah, well, if it was a race, she's fucking lost. Like, this is not even, this isn't like a, hey, Vaquer could take a stumble, and then Julia might be able to make up some ground. It's like, yeah, they're not even in the same. This is comparing main roster to NXT or main roster to Evolve or something at this point. But
before we move on to RT, can I bring up a bit, just because we talk about SmackDown, and this is like tangentially related, about Andrade.
Oh, the Andrade thing. That's right. That was another whole thing.
Well, yeah, well, I think that you were still here when he got fired.
Yeah.
And since then, we've had the whole 1 year non-compete clause. And the whole ridiculousness around that, we talked about that ad nauseum about how that's the reason why he's not been appearing in AEW. That's the reason why he's not feuding with Kenny Omega right now, is because WWE is tying him to a 1 year non-compete. Now, just add another little wrinkle into this. There are reports coming from like Lucha circles or like Lucha insiders that the reason why WWE is enforcing this 1 year non-compete clause is to try and bring him back to the company.
What?
Yeah, that came from Mike Johnson. That within Lucha circles, the feeling is that WWE might be trying to leverage this in order to get Andrade to come back and finish out his time with the company. Why did you let him go, man? Like,
well, this is the reason. The reason why they let him go is because they thought he burnt his bridges in AEW and he wouldn't go back to them. AEW re-signed him, and now they're going to enforce his money on complete and pretty much say, hey, listen, you're going to be on the shelf for 1 year now, and you won't be able to do anything or make money anywhere. So why not just come back to us, finish off your deal, and then we'll let you go afterwards, or maybe you'll resign or anything on those lines. It's yeah, I think that it's just a bizarre, crazy situation where they let this guy go, thinking that he's burnt his bridges, he's not going to go anywhere, he's just too much trouble for us to handle. But then he's going to go to AEW. I mean, why do you think that's a big deal? Why do you think that he's going to make he's the big difference maker that AEW need? Is it just you that petty that you just don't want the Doghouse family to have their 18th member?
Yeah. That's always been the argument for me. Is always like when people be like, oh, they need to make sure that Dakota Kai doesn't go over. Why? If you do not give a shit about them and you do not push them and they are not moving the needle on WWE television or whatever story you want to tell yourself to justify not using somebody and releasing them or whatever, then they are valueless to them. And then let them go elsewhere. And it's not going to make a difference. If Andrade's that much of a fucking hassle, do you want him in the company anymore? Is he in any way improving the metrics to be worth the hassle for it? If it's a yes, why'd you fire him? If it's a no, why don't you fire him? Nobody keeps somebody around for a negative. Fucking how dumb can you be? And he's not going to make a big deal over in AEW. If the guy gets over in AEW and he suddenly becomes this massive deal and it's wow, okay, it's a shame that Andrade's not with us. Maybe you should have fucking done that with him. And that's on you. It's the same, I'm not even a sports guy, but it's somebody can be drafted to a baseball team. They suck. They go to another team. They end up doing really well. Then it's wow, I missed out on that guy. Well, maybe you should have coached him better, or maybe you should have figured out the fucking whatever that is. But if I'm Andrade, I'm maybe you could argue the whole argument of wellness policy and all that kind of stuff. Whatever it is that led to this. I'm not condoning not knowing what was going on, whatever. But the pettiness of the whole thing. If I'm hearing from WWE, why don't we, instead of being bullies, why don't you come and do fuck all for us for the next year and ride out your contract? We certainly are not going to push you or use you in any capacity. But can you beat up your body and do media for us and pretend like you're a good little soldier? I'd be nah. I'm going to go wrestle the places I can wrestle and try to make money that way, and I'll see AEW when I'm done. Or you can talk to my fucking lawyers,
It'll have to be the latter because the problem is they're not even letting him wrestle on the indies he was scheduled for now.
And these no-compete things, again, speaking to the idea of we need an adult and somebody who has, a brain and isn't just a corporate stooge who takes money and, lobbies and everything that goes along with the horrible way that politics just has always been. It's not it's just now, but now it's just people are now I can be greedy and racist. And, but the whole idea of these independent contractors thing and all that, if Andrade was fired because of a disciplinary thing, that should be the end of it. It should terminate his contract and he should be able to go elsewhere. If he was fired because they decided they didn't just want to deal with him anymore and it wasn't a firing, but it was more of a soft, we're not going to do anything with you and we might as well part ways, then maybe that's slightly different or whatever. And if he chose to leave, then that is something where I can start getting into the whole all right, if he chose to sit out the rest of his contract and they pay him to sit out the contract and continue to say, did you change your mind? Then that would be a different story. But it all seems to me to point in the direction of he wants out, he had an issue, they fired him, and then they were like, yeah, but we also don't want you to be able to do anything elsewhere. Motherfucker, if you fired me, you should not have any control over that anymore.
Fundamentally, it comes down to if at any point after firing him they didn't pay him and they stopped paying him, then this non-compete has no legs to stand on.
Right.
If they were continuing to pay him as per a 90-day non-compete or even this 1 year thing, if the idea is they continue to pay him for the duration of that time, and it's just a case of he's on, I guess what the equivalent of what we call in the UK is kind of a gardening leave thing. In the it's basically when a football manager or something like that gets sacked, but they're technically still under contract with him, but they just replace him and just continue to pay them while they're for the duration of their contract. If that's the case, then that's okay, maybe there is some still more legal manoeuvring. But if essentially they fired him, stopped paying him, and he went to AEW, then they've got no legal leg to stand on.
Yeah, and then I would be, if I were in Andrade's shoes, lawyering up and being hey judge, this is a frivolous bullshit thing that I know I'm going to win, and I'm already going to package into this that I will countersue once I win this for them to pay all of my legal fees and more to compensate me for all this bullshit I'm going to have to go through because there shouldn't be any ground to stand on. And then if I'm WWE and I'm looking at that, I'm going, oh my god, is this worth the hassle? Or do we just let this motherfucker go? And if you're bleeding money where you need to fire people all the time while you're making record profits and stuff like that, if it's only a matter of TKO needs to make money because they're need to balance out the sheets when it comes to UFC, or they're well, we spent all this money on WWE, so we need to bounce back as soon as possible with that, so let's sell this out, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Then at a certain point, if you're pinching pennies, you can't waste money either. You can't say that dollar thing is a problem, so I'll spend $10 to avoid it. Totally so this whole Andrade thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, but we should just all draw a line on for it. It's just they're just going to keep. Again, this is not this is not AEW fault. It's not Andrade's fault. Realistically, it's just this is the only thing that's stopping us from all just moving on from this, just getting on with our lives, is WWE being petty for whatever reason.
It just goes to show you too, if that's going to be the case, then somebody's probably okay, well, next time around, I'll tell Tony Khan I got to wait 90 days or whatever it is, and then we'll do something, and then now they can't do anything or whatever. I don't know.
It's funny, because the reports point out that this 1 year non-compete is now standard. Is now standard in these contracts.
Well, no, it's now enforced. It's always in the contracts. Which, by the way, I got to say it again. This is third or fourth week in a row. TKO working overtime to make Vince McMahon look like more of a people person than anyone they could ever employ.
Insane.
What are we doing?
And Samantha Irving has a 2-year non-compete.
That's right. She announced that she had a 2-year non-compete.
Because if you let her go to AEW and she's the ring announcer, oh my god, that's going to cripple our sales for WrestleMania.
It's just so petty. It's all just petty. If you're not here, you can't be anywhere kind of attitude. And it's got nothing to do with business or making money or anything like that. It's just them being petulant about all this stuff and trying to send a message to everyone else that if you try and leave, this is what's going to happen to you, and we'll freeze everyone out and we'll do whatever we can to prevent you from, not just because eventually you will just end up going there because they can't keep you indentured forever. But it's more of a case of we'll keep you so long that people forget about you, or you won't have much of an impact going over there because you just people will have lost interest in your story by the time you go over there.
Gotta vote with your money, everybody, because the only thing that controls people that have power, that can manipulate people like that, is when the collective good decides, well, fuck you, we don't want to give you your money. It's the only thing that works anymore.
See, I'm probably more jaded than you in that sense. I kind of feel like, even if, me and you and a handful of other people were to be able to do that, I don't think it would affect these people. They have too much of it.
The money comes from
it
money
takes
comes from TV
lots
deals.
of people.
Yeah, the money comes from TV deals now. So pretty much to the point where both WWE and AEW probably like if they were continuing to pay that much, obviously it wouldn't work that way because you need viewership for the TV companies to pay this way. But they could survive and be profitable if nobody ever came to any of their shows anymore.
Which
I
is
mean,
terrible.
they have a live audience now, but like, if you go crazy pressuring the advertisers and then they get down on Netflix and they get, it's that kind of thing. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, the world's falling apart. Andrade is not the biggest issue people should be worried about. They should be worried about, the state of the world. But like, that's the only thing that you can do is you can fight in two different ways. You can fight with your money or you can fight with your fists. And eventually, if one doesn't work, the other one will.
Whatever happened to the pen is mightier than the sword.
There's like 3 Bond references that are just floating through my mind. Like, which one do I go with?
I'm invincible.
I'm like, do I go with don't touch that, it's my lunch? Like, the writing's on the wall. Along with the rest of him. Like, I love you some Goldeneye.
I feel I may have entirely misunderstood him. Is it too much to think that he might have done this all for me?
Harbor Freight tools keep getting better with time. Better performance, better durability, better value. Come on in and see for yourself. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Some Goldeneye. I have no transition for this that would make any sense or whatever. It's not a story that you would like funny transition to or whatever like that. But WWE former Men on a Mission Sir Mo Bobby Horn passed away over this past week, age 58. I honestly thought that he was older than that. There's been some reports about some of the specifics about that, and of course, a lot of that's information that maybe some people do know, maybe they don't know, whatever it might be. But the one report that I had seen was he had dealt with a lot of different issues over years. He had a lot of COVID problems, he had kidney issues, different things here and there. Some stuff about WWE not paying for those life-saving or potential life-saving kidney transplants and such. That's something that when you get into certain contract things, they say that they'll pay for rehab, but I guess they don't necessarily pay for other things.
Contract with them?
I don't know. That's another thing too. And we don't know all the ins and outs of that stuff. So I feel confident in saying I don't fucking understand the ins and outs of that, but I don't want to 100% vilify WWE. And at the same time, there's that part of me that's man, if you help out, why not you help out people that used to be part of your group and stuff. But yeah, Mo was not one of the biggest names in pro wrestling history, but he was still somebody that had been in that family and everything. And it's still unfortunate to hear about anybody pass away. And Mo is the type of wrestler that a lot of people, from my era, were okay, Mo is a quick guy eliminated from the Royal Rumble or whatever it might be. But yeah, he had some fun things here and there. I couldn't tell you my favorite Mo match, but it still sucks. Yeah, it's never a good thing.
No favorite moment?
Moments, there you go. That's good.
Mo, first of all, you blow my mind with the fact that he's only 58 years old. That's wild. Because that means when Mabel wins King of the Ring, Mo is only 28. And that's nuts. That's a very young guy. A big part of that new generation era, did win the tag titles with Mabel, I believe at a European house show before losing it to the Quebecers. Fought for the tag titles at WrestleMania 10. Yeah, Men on a Mission was a big deal. They were a top tag team as babyfaces for that couple of years, and then when Mabel had the run as the top heel in '95, Mo was right there as the sidekick. It sucks, a lot of hard hitting passings for a certain age group this year. And while Mo might not be, legacy wise, someone like a Hogan or a, even outside of the world of wrestling, like an Ace Frehley just died, it's still a big wow. A lot of people grew up watching him, and I think that's sad. And condolences to his family. And I will always think of Mo and think of Mabel when I talk to Tony because we made Mabel such an inside joke in our friendship. So, big sad.
Yeah, but I only just add to it's obviously unfortunate that someone in connects pro wrestling in any fashion. Also, I don't really know much about Men on a Mission because I wasn't watching at that time. And it's not something that I would go back to revisit. And yeah, Mo was not one of the biggest wrestlers in WWE history, but he was teamed with one of the biggest wrestlers in WWE history.
Absolutely.
And if you have any big Mo clips, moments, anything that in the comments below, your favorite Mo match, your favorite Mo moment, whatever it might be, leave a comment and give a shout out to Mo. One more match, whatever it might be, you want to do in the comments. The other things I got on the hot tags are essentially just breaking down some more of the TV talk. Going back to Monday Night Raw, the main thing out of everything, there's the whole Braun Breaker talking about Seth Rollins and stuff, which was essentially, okay, well, it's just storyline's exactly what you would assume at this point, and there's no real movement because they're still trying to figure it out. But the two things that stand out to me more than anything about this episode of Raw were, I guess there's 3 things now I'm looking at the lineup. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee won the tag titles. I did not see that coming.
So again, I found out at this point, I'm not watching Raw, and I'm kind of bummed out about this stuff, and I go on YouTube and I see AJ Styles and Dragon Lee won the tag. What's happening? And I text Tony. I'm like, is this real? And Tony says yes. And the only thing I can think of, honest to God, is someone in that writer's room, even if it was the AI, said, haha, AJ Lee. And they said, absolutely, we're going to do it. How did it, why?
I don't understand the, you didn't need to get the belts off of the Judgment Day. I'm fine with the Judgment Day not being champions. It's not like I was oh man, keep them on there forever. But AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, Dragon Lee's part of LWO, whatever. Okay. So I'm well, does this just mean that they're going to transition to somebody and they needed a set of baby faces? So they're just fucking put it on them. Who cares? It's tag titles. We don't really give a shit about them to begin with. Or is this a matter of do they see something in this that I don't see? Or I don't know. It's weird though.
I like it. I think this is what I was talking about. This made me feel oh man, I kind of wish I was watching that. It would have been kind of fun to see AJ Styles and Dragon Lee win the tag titles in real time. Do more of this.
it's kind of one of like, for just someone who obviously doesn't know the context of it as much, it does kind of smack of, okay, we do want to see more random, not say random, but more events happening on TV shows to make us feel like, okay, we need to watch because a title change can happen or something else unique or interesting. But it does kind of feel like, okay, but then you just throw together a random tag team to win the titles rather than, you have actual tag teams on. Like, why do you spend more time building up actual tag teams to win tag team titles rather than just throw two guys together that probably have teamed, I don't know, 3 or 4 times at most in their entire careers and just like, okay, you tag titles. And yeah, so it's one of those like balancing out things like, we need to see more more interesting stuff or just unique things happening on shows to keep people engaged and interesting tuning in week after week, but also actually build towards things rather than just because build towards this is basically been AJ Styles failing to win the Intercontinental title. So I don't know, give him the tag title, I would say.
Right. Which like that's not a 1-to-1 and not the type of thing that like again I don't think like it moves needles in certain ways for it to be like, oh, but isn't this great that like AJ Styles and Dragon Lee are the tag champs? I don't think people are gonna be like, well, that's the difference maker. Now I'm gonna start watching Monday Night Raw. But like it's interesting, even in the sense of what the fuck. And I'm on the lookout already for like, all right, does this mean that Los Americanos just win the titles? Is that simple? And they just needed a babyface set to transition to, or is this a matter of like, we got nothing for AJ, but if we can give him the tag titles, at least he can go and wrestle something down the line here and there. But very weird. Not something that I was anticipating whatsoever. So like I had already pre-written that they lose the match and whatever. Then I'm just like, okay, let me go and change all that up. I did not anticipate Maxine Dupree would have survived the whole Becky Lynch thing the way that she did, where she didn't win the match or anything like any way that really mattered. It was by DQ. So they did the count out thing, they did a disqualification thing. Sacramento was like the big thing because it was where she's from. So they went about 3 weeks out of this, and I guess next week we'll probably get some. Now it's a title match, rematch thing, and then Becky retains. I don't know. I mean, Dupree's not winning that belt, but it's a little strange that they went that direction. I thought that was just gonna be Becky winning here. And the IC title situation is what it is. What do you guys think about the idea about this rumor floating around that John Cena will win the IC title?
I like it. I think if you're gonna do it, you should have done it sooner. It's kind of annoying that they're just gonna shoehorn it for November, and then maybe he drops it to Gunther. But I like it.
I think he'll just lose it to Dominic Mysterio. If that's the route they go down. It just seems like a weird subset thing to do. Like, does he have to be holding a title going into his final match? Can't just be the final match itself is the big moment. Like, he just chooses his final opponent, it's Gunther, or Gunther comes out and challenges him and he accepts. It's like, I just don't feel, just adding in a title to it just doesn't feel like it's got no point to it. Especially like the idea of like, you tell me Sheamus has been waiting for ages and ages to win the Intercontinental title and talking about it, and it's just like, okay, we'll just give Cena his first Intercontinental title ranks, why not?
You know how that works.
Yeah.
well, anyway.
The other thing was after they did, this song and dance of a bunch of different things, they did the Battle Royal, and the winner goes on to face CM Punk at Saturday night's main event for the vacated championship after Seth Rollins' injury. Braun Breaker's taken out of the match because if he's not going to win, why eliminate him? Makes perfect sense. And Jey Uso wins. So it's CM Punk, the number 1 contender, against the guy he beat to become the number 1 contender, not LA Knight. And fans are not happy about it. I don't blame them. I get that WWE is like, well, he's a name, so let's do that because that quote unquote could be potentially the biggest match we could do on Monday Night Raw right now, even though we just did it and everybody is kind of past it. I care so little about this. I just want to figure out where they're going after that. Because it's like, well, you put it on Jay, I'm going to be like, that sucks. Like, you put it on Punk, I'm just going to